Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in this world you might be. My name's Jack Branch, and I am in Covington, Louisiana. We've got a great guest today on the Healthy Wealth Show. The whole goal of this show is really to help people navigate through the valleys of life in both health and wealth. And, I know today we've got something that's near and dear to a lot of you guys and gals watching, and that's fishing. Um,
Albert Einstein and Donald Trump have
Technical difficulty. So, a good friend of mine that a lot of people in this field know a lot about. He's down in Hopedale, Louisiana. Captain Charlie Thomason. He's going to give us some advice on how to fish, where to fish, and why you going and buying your own boat while you think you might be a rock star. You may want to reconsider that, and I'll kind of give you my testimony. So without further ado, I want to introduce a good friend of mine, Captain Charlie. What's happening, bro?
Hey, Jack, how are you today, man? Everything going okay?
It is, man. So it's that time of the year where we're kind of in transition, right? I mean, going between that fall pattern and really getting into spring. And I know you guys, whether you know this or not, I fished with Charlie probably 15 years ago before I really became an avid fisherman. And really the experience with him is what got me enjoying the salt water and all that. Tell the guests a little bit about your operation and what you guys do, where you're located, and why people keep coming back to you, Charlie.
Yeah, well, real easy. My name's, Captain Charlie Thomason. I'm out of Hopedale, Louisiana, which is, in all seriousness, I've fished all over the world. And, not just because I leave here, but, it's the best fishing in the world. Not only, is it productive, but we also just catch tons of fish year round. We don't ever have time off. Our fishing just always does well. It's down in a little place, Hopedale, Louisiana, which is in St. Bernard Parish, about 45 minutes from downtown New Orleans. And we have a lot of guests that come from out of town that come fish with us. My operation, we have lodging that I'm actually in the process right now building more lodging. We'll be able to sleep probably about 40 people now after we finish our build. And we have 5 boats full time, 8 boats that we have during the busy times of the year. I've trained all my guides, so we're not get when somebody comes fishing with us, that's one of the biggest questions they ask. They go, "Well, how long has this guy been fishing with you?" I train every single guide that fishes with me. I've got guides that have been with me now. Joe's been with me for 15 years now.
Wow.
So,
How'd you get into this?
14, it'll be 15 coming up.
How'd you end up becoming a fishing guide and more of an entrepreneur than just only a fishing guide? Because I know when I fished with you, I was like, damn, this guy knows marketing and sales and, just people development. I mean, what got you in this line of work, Charlie?
Jack, and that's a good way that you just said it. I tell people all the time, I've got some really big sponsors that sponsor not only myself, but also my team of guides. Stanley Black and Decker, who owns multiple tool companies, which is DeWalt, Stanley. They own Irwin Tools, Craftsman they just bought, Lennox Tools. They purchased all those guys. They were just someone that came fishing with me. And there's an opportunity for everybody that is, in the business world to understand that what I do for a living, the promotional value is so high because majority of the people that fish with us, this is a luxury deal. Most people that come fish with us have to have a little bit of money. We deal with a lot of corporate people who bring out and entertain not only their employees, customers. They do team building events constantly down by us. That's one of the big things that they do. And I noticed that at a young age. I noticed that everybody coming, including yourself, you would bring customers down. And I really started realizing that even though our fishing is really good, the reason why people were bringing their customers or employees was that they wanted those guys to have a great experience and to really tell them, "Hey, man, I really appreciate the business that you do with me. And this is a way that I can kind of do it with, understanding that it's something different than just going out to lunch or going to golf. It's a true destination experience." And I noticed that at a young age. And what I did was I started turning it into more of people coming down, not just for the fishing, but coming down to St. Bernard Parish and learning about the oyster fishing and the shrimping and the crabbing, and them realizing that the blue crabs they're eating in Maryland are not blue crabs from Maryland. Those are blue crabs from right here in Delacroix and Hopedale,
Right.
and we box them up in Maryland boxes and send them up there. And it's really neat. People get that experience, and then all the history here with, the Battle of New Orleans, and we incorporate all of that into it. And, I think that that's one thing that separates me from most of the guides is that I understand that it's not all about the fishing. It's all about the experience of coming down and the food and the people and just being able to see things like dolphins that we take for granted.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we look at a dolphin and think of the enemy because he's eating all of our fish when we're trying to reel him in. But the people that are fishing with us that are from Connecticut or Canada or we just had guys last week from Egypt. They have no idea what even a porpoise or a dolphin looks like, and they get to come out and experience that. That's worth its weight in gold. And that's how we get our repeat business. And that's how we really get it is we always fill the boxes up with fish. And
Always.
our guides I'm going to put my guides against any other guides out there. We're fun. We enjoy ourselves. We do this for a living because we really like it. It's not really a job.
Well,
And I will tell you this today. I tell people constantly, I am a much better promoter and BSer than I ever will be a fisherman. And I think that's a good trait, believe it or not.
I think so too, and that's what I really jumped out at me. And a lot of you are watching, my friends from Tennessee, are all over the country, and you're like, where do we go fish? Do we go to Venice? Do we go to down here to where you guys are in Hopedale and Shell Beach? And I think the beauty of this estuary is you could do both. You could come and stay at Charlie's place for a couple of days, bring some clients or bring some friends, and not only just experience the fishing, what you said is a given, if they're going to catch a lot of fish. It's just being able, where you're going to see an alligator come up to a boat in the marsh, or where you're going to see a, dolphin. One of my friends last summer, taking these little trout and the dolphin come up and hand feed it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And you've really got it going on. I'm glad to hear you expanding because there is quite a challenge down there for accommodations. There's plenty of guys, doing fishing guiding, but there's not a lot of guys doing the all-inclusive type thing you all do. So let's understand really how, obviously in the fall, the fishing's easy. In the height of the summer, you could put a booger on a hook and catch fish.
Yeah.
No. But let's talk about, I know you'd mentioned, you wanted to share with the guys that are local how to really catch fish in this transition period during February and March a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot of the local people, are understanding that our true estuary here on the east side of the river, which is the real true estuary of our state. Thank God I do have a degree from LSU that, in forestry and coastal science, and I understand what's happening to our area. We're having an influx of a lot of fresh water due to these openings now that are in the Mississippi River. And with that change, what's happening to us as fishermen is that we've got to change our game plan a little bit to be productive. Now, red fishing, it's the same thing as you've always done. Our redfish have really not changed because they have the ability to acclimate themselves to fresh water. They can live in fresh water. You can go to, Bass Pro Shops tomorrow and go look at the redfish in their tanks swimming with catfish and bass. The redfish have that ability. Speckled trout, flounder don't have that ability. Even black drum, they have a really hard time dealing with it also. So the local anglers have to understand that in a transition period like right now, our salt water is going to be extremely deep, meaning that on the water column, if you're fishing in 3 feet of water or 20 feet of water, majority of your saltiest water is going to be down low. And you know that from if you've ever fished and you go out and let's just say offshore. You know that fresh water is all up on the surface. And then as you're riding in the boat, the blue water and the teal water comes up beneath the fresh water. So our thing is we have this water column. Half is probably salt water and half is fresh. So you can't be discouraged. And when the fresh water was coming in, as guides, we all got a little discouraged. Like, oh, man, we're going to really be in bad shape. But once we started learning and evolving, understanding that, hey, especially this time of year, going into the spring, our salt water is going to stay down low. So what that means for us is that we have to fish not say deeper, but you have to have your bait in a deeper water column is what it
Yeah.
has to be. So what that means is that when you're going out fishing, instead of using just a regular kale hook under a cork, you have to put an 1/8 ounce, maybe a 1/4 ounce jig head and use that and put your bait on using the jig head and the shrimp. Feed it on just like you would a dead shrimp.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because when you're popping that popping cork, you want that bait to stay down in that water column. You don't want that bait to be able to rise up because the fish are not going to go up in that fresh water. And that makes a big difference, And if you fish ledges, which you're going to be doing this time of year because they suspend, when they're on those ledges where the water drops off from maybe 2 to 3 feet and drops off to 5 to 10 feet, those ledges right there, those fish are suspending. And if you get the bait down to the right water column, you're going to catch a lot of fish. And literally, the people next to you, if you're fishing like, let's just say, the Mr. Go Rocks, which is a common area by us, coming up in like late March and April, the fish start showing up at the rocks. We will be there catching trout one after the other, cast after cast. There will be boats that pull up to us and cannot get a bite, and all they think it is it's the bait. But in all honesty, it's just that we're fishing at 4 to 5 feet, and they're fishing at 2, and they're just not in the area where the fish are.
And they're fickle, right? When that water gets colder, they're more choosy, and they're not as active. It's funny you say that. My buddy Todd that I know, he's doing some stuff like some northern techniques. Like
Yes.
he's fishing with muskie, or not muskie, but a walleye, which are very similar. And he's shown me these baits he bought, which no one fishes, but he's been killing them by the rocks there. And like you said, all these other people are scratching their heads, and he's pulling over 2 and 3 pounders. Maybe not as plentiful, maybe as in the fall or the summer, but nonetheless, he's catching them, and they're just scratching his head. And what's real interesting is even some of the people on the boat with him aren't catching him because he's doing this crazy jigging technique that he's just trying to employ. So, I know a lot of people, are out there trying to be a Home Depot, or if you will, and do it yourself. And I've got a camp and we've got boats and we do all that. But I've done the math and I've realized that if you have all these expenses, why is it better to hire a guide like you versus being a Home Depot or Lowe's guy, do it yourself?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Jack, the reason for it is that, you have a boat note and you purchase a boat. Majority of the people who buy a boat don't realize that the truck they need to pull that boat needs to be a larger truck, or, they have to get out of an SUV, a smaller SUV, and get a bigger SUV for the purpose of being able to pull a boat. So that's the first thing right there. So then you start talking about insurance with the boat. Then you start talking about maintenance. And then that doesn't even get you at the marina yet. Then you have to drive down, so you need fuel in the truck. Then you got to go and get the boat down there, put fuel in the boat. You got to get ice. You got to get drinks. You got to get, you have to do everything. Then when you get to the marina, you got to pay for the boat launch. You got to buy bait. Now you're in the water, but oh, wait a second. I got to buy rods, reels, net, all of the safety equipment. You have to do all of that stuff. Oil in the motor. I mean, you just think of all of these random things. Then when you go out fishing, you have everything done, but guess what? You forgot the one main thing. Where are the fish?
Yeah.
So you honestly sit there and scratch your head and go, okay, now I've got to do all the research and try to figure out where the fish are. Now I'll tell you, some people out there, that's the allure of fishing, is the ability to go out and look and find fish on their own. And those guys will not mind spending the money because that's the enjoyment. That's where I am. I've always had the enjoyment of trying to find fish. Even on fishing charters, when I went out and I caught fish at the same spot for the last 3 days, I move and go somewhere else because I've lost that enjoyment of going out and searching for the fish. I tell my customers, look, we can catch them over there at that spot, but let's try a few more different things. If that doesn't work, we can always go back there. And the enjoyment and the success, and it's just, the fulfillment of having the ability to find fish on your own can be a really good thing. Then I would say you want a boat. But if not, you hire somebody like me, and it could be any guide. Most guides that are out there that are full-time guides will put you on fish always, no matter what. Your expense will be way lower. You won't have to pay for gas. You won't have to pay for anything. Like our chartering service, you can literally pull up to our dock, get out of the boat. If you don't want us to supply the food and drinks, you grab your food and drinks in an ice chest. We put them on the boat. You get on the boat. We bait every hook. You do not touch a bait. We cast. If people want us to cast, we cast for everyone. I just had a charter 2 days ago. I had a family in. I cast. We caught 57 redfish by 10:30. It was kind of cool. At 10:30, we had 57 redfish, and the people never touched a shrimp and never casted a pole. I did everything for them. But that is something that most people say, oh, well, that's not, that it is fun, because the thing is, I'm able to put the bait right where it needs to be. I'm able to instruct them how to pop the cork, get it right to where it works. And when it's all said and done, they have the most successful day they'll ever have in the water.
Yeah,
And
that learning curve short, right? I mean,
oh, it
to
just
try to
takes,
teach somebody that might be a city slicker or something how to actually, do the things that you do down here could take quite a while if
yes.
they've not done it. I mean, you've been doing this quite a lifetime. How do people find you? Is it CaptainCharlie.com?
Pretty much the best way is either CaptainCharlie.com or BayouCharters.com. We have both of those, and you can check us out on our website. You can also just become friends with us on Facebook, and that's one of the big things for me, for promoting wise, is I'm getting feedback a little bit, but promoting wise is that I use Facebook heavily, and you will see that for me, I post every day exactly what I'm doing and what we're catching throughout the morning. I show a sunrise every morning, and the reason why is when Facebook first started, I was doing it, and then I said, you know what? People must be getting tired of the sunrise. I'm going to start doing something different. As soon as I stopped, I got tons of people saying, why aren't you putting out sunrises? I need a new screensaver for today. I mean, it's kind of funny, but that was what was happening. So the marketing worked, and people were watching me constantly. And this is a great way for somebody who wants to do a trip. If they don't have the ability to schedule out, because we schedule out kind of in advance, but we always have a few boats here and there. If you're watching my Facebook, you'll literally go, oh, okay, Charlie's catching trout pretty good right now. Let me call the office. Hey, I want to get a trip this Wednesday. Do you have it? Yeah, we got a boat open. Okay. You're going to catch fish, the type of species that we're catching at the time. And it's just really fun to watch people catch fish. I mean, we have movie stars that fish with us, athletes that fish with us, big business people, and it's really fun to have them out of their element and doing things and have the ability to watch that. It's really fun and it's exciting.
Well, and you're quite the man. Like you said, you say it's BS, but you have a genuine interest in helping people enjoy and have a good time, and I think that's where the rubber meets the road. So, how do they get a hold of you to book a trip with you? I mean, obviously on Facebook, Bayou Charters or CaptainCharlie.com, but what's a number they could call to see availability?
Our office number is 504-278-3474. Once again, 504-278-3474. That number right there, somebody is there at the phone from 8 in the morning till 4 in the evening every single day. They'll answer the phone, and anybody that's out there that, if they're corporate, we take care of everything. I mean, literally, my girls, Nicole and Mandy, will take care of everything. You call them up, you tell them just what you want. We'll have everything set up for you for when you get down there. You and your customers are literally just walking in and not having to do a thing.
The only thing you can't do is hold the beer or beverage to their mouth, right? And you
That's
might even
exactly
do that.
Right. That's right. If I got to do that, then we're going to be in trouble. I got to draw the line somewhere, Well, I'll grab your sandwich for you, but I don't know if I'm going to hold your beer so you can drink it.
That's right, unless you're going to be partaking with them, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Charlie, I appreciate you taking some time, and folks that are watching, you definitely need to reach out to this guy. There's a lot of folks out there that are guides, but no one that has the accommodations. A lot of you guys from Tennessee are always like, "Hey, where do I go? Where do I go?" Here's where you go. So
yeah, it's very easy, Jack. They can just go right on. They can go just right on our website, and all of our stuff is there. They can see all the accommodations. They can see everything. As a matter of fact, we just filmed last week, I think it was. We filmed all of the interior. We're making like pretty much a video where people can see the grounds. They can see our what we call the captain's quarters, which is our deck below, where we have TVs and a bar and facilities to eat, and the people can come and they can see all of that on the site. So when they're thinking about doing a trip, they can say, hey, yeah, you know what? I need do you have a projector and a screen? Yeah, we got it right there, and you can do your meeting, and we have everything there for you, and you can look over the marsh and watch the alligators come up and get on the grass, and that's why we have the signs, get away from the alligators, because we got a lot of people that think you can go pet an alligator.
They will chew back if you mess with them. If you don't mess with them, they're very peaceful
That's right.
species. But it's funny when people get a little liquid courage, what
That's
the heck
right.
they'll do. And so again, you guys, I'm gonna post in this live when we're done the link to him, and definitely follow him on Facebook. And again, I can tell you, it's cheaper to hire a guide even twice a month to own a camp
Oh yeah.
and own a boat and all that. So again, if you want to go and be adventurous and do your thing, that's fine. But even if you do, you should still take a guide at least a couple times a year to learn new techniques and new strategies, because let's face it, I mean, you can't do the same thing over and over and expect different results, especially this time of the year, as you mentioned.
Yeah, without a doubt, Jack. And the thing is that everybody out there, even if you do fish on your own, one of the great things about most guides that are out there that have been doing it for a little while, we really enjoy offering tips and techniques to people who fish on their own. Most people say, "Oh, do you have people come up and like try to get your spots from you?" I tell people all the time. The funniest thing is that majority of the time I'm never in the same spot 2 or 3 days in a row.
Right.
So the thing is, if a guy picks up a spot from me here or there, and the chances of me seeing them out in the water at the same spot is pretty slim.
Yeah.
And if it encourages them to go out and enjoy the waters and have that, you'd be surprised the amount of people that I've shown spots to on trips that literally go to the spot and I'm not even thinking about it and text me or hit me up on Facebook and say, "Hey, Charlie, you remember that spot you showed me over there at XYZ Lake?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, and they go, "Hey, I caught him really good there yesterday. You might want to go check it out."
So it
I've
goes
got
back and forth,
800
right?
people.
Then you can take your guys and go back. I mean, it's you don't think like a scarce mindset. So many people are trying to guard their cheese that there ends up not being any for you to eat or anyone else. And I think if you have that abundance mindset, as you do, I know, Charlie, it all works out.
Always does, man. It always
last
works
thing,
out.
real quick, I don't want to go down this path too far, but what about all this freshwater diversion and all that? Kind of a controversial topic, but people need to pay attention to it, don't they?
Yeah, the diversion issue is a really big one. I do have some educational background in it. I think that we all know something has to be done, and I don't think that diversions are the 100% answer. And I think we all know that. I'm really hoping that they really take into account the geological and the subsidence issue more than they're worried about trying to just thinking that if they put silt on top, it's going to work. We have a lot of people don't know it, but we're sitting right here in St. Bernard Parish on one of the largest faults in the continental United States. It runs right from New Orleans east through St. Bernard and goes down. And the more and more we pull oil and natural gas out of the ground, our ground's sinking. And we have a natural attenuation that happens too, which is erosion. So what ends up happening is that for us, we've got to be smart about it and think about, slowing down the velocity of the water and getting the ability to get some of that silt in. But we know we got to get land quick, we got to dredge. And, they've done it at a lot of places all over the world. And if they can build a true island in Dubai and build buildings on it.
Yeah, build multi-million-dollar palaces on it. I mean, we could figure out how to do it here. I think you hit the nail on the head. We have to. I know it's important, but we have to think through this other than just make it be a political move, right? And
yeah, I think that the problem to me too is that I've attended some of these meetings and I kind of watch it on the backside because of the way I am in the public and everything. I got to kind of keep myself a little tame on it. But I think that one of our issues right now, big time, is that the people who are on these committees and different things like that are not educated in the ways of the understanding truly what's going on. And they've been appointed to these positions, and they're making some really big decisions on the account of just kind of what their friends are saying instead of really having the research and the data behind it. So, it is what it is, Jack. Life throws you a lot of stuff, and at first I was a little skeptic and a little worried, and then I wouldn't be investing $500,000 down there right now if I didn't think that it was going to be okay. So, I think things will be fine. I just think that everybody needs to, just be proactive,
all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, Charlie, thank you. And folks, again, stay tuned to next week when we're going to have Phil Brought with the Baptist local ministry, talk about how a businessman came from the business world actually doing some stuff with the Southern Baptist Convention. So again, I'm going to post the links under here. And again, thank you, Charlie, for your time. And you folks definitely book some times with this guy. And I assure you, you'll have the time of your life. Y'all have an awesome day.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, brother.